Johnny promised me he would ruin me, that he'd ruin my career, he'd take my life from me. Death was the only way out. And if I got out, this is what he'd do to me. He'd make me think of him every single day. He promised me global humiliation. You saw those texts. What he couldn't do, the work of one individual, meaning Johnny, when he was inviting a disgruntled employee over for a spot of purple to fix my flabby ass up, that revenge that he sought back then was just what he could do as an individual, calling the studio to get me fired, trying to block him.
Objection, Your Honor, lack of foundation, speculation, hearsay, non-responsive.
I'll sustain as to non-responsive.
Ms. Heard, how did those things that you just testified to that Mr. Depp did, how did those resemble what happened to you after the Depp-Waldman counterclaim statements were made?
Those are just an echo of what I'm living through today.
Heard's account or Ms. Heard's explanation, you're aware she's never actually given an explanation for how she thinks he lost his finger, correct?
No.
Yeah. You're aware that Ms. Heard testified, and this was from your deposition, you're aware that she testified she doesn't know how he got his fingertip chopped off.
No, I'm not. I reviewed the records, and in one of the testimonies depositions that I reviewed, it was described that that potentially it was lost when he was punching against the wall with a phone.
And on that, the last point there, I think we agree. Ms. Heard's testified in this trial and previously that she saw him smash a phone to smithereens, a wall phone. You'd agree with that, correct?
Correct.
But she doesn't know if that was what caused him to lose his finger. You agree with that, correct?
I agree. I cannot speak for her, but yes.
Okay.
Like, when I was around Johnny, I felt like the most beautiful person in the whole world. You know, it made me feel seen, made me feel like $1 million. It felt like a dream. It felt like absolute magic. And then he would disappear. And there'd be just no way to get a hold of him, no way to contact him.
The thing with Dickie, it's like the sun shines on you and it's glorious. And then he forgets you and it's very, very cold.
Ms. Heard, you testified that in January of 2015, there was an incident in Tokyo before Mr. Depp's Mordecai, the film Mordecai's premiere. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you told this jury that on this occasion, Mr. Depp was kneeling on your back.
That's correct, in the closet.
And you also told this jury that you wore a backless dress to the Mordecai premiere that very same night.
I did.
And you testified that you were checking for bruises in the car on the way to the event to make sure that there were, quote, no visible marks, right?
I was checking on my phone after the event to make sure that you couldn't see anything.
Your testimony was that you were checking in the car on the way to the event to make sure that there were no marks on your back.
Perhaps I misspoke or I misunderstood. It was on the way back from it was after I was concerned. After, concerned that there would be marks in any photographs since we were being photographed at Johnny's press event.
And you didn't show this jury a picture of you in that backless dress, though, did you?
I don't know what you mean. I'm sorry.
You didn't show this jury a picture of you at the Mordecai premiere wearing a backless dress, did you?
I haven't had the opportunity to.
Okay.
I assume you have it?
I do. Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1256. This is you in the backless dress at the Mordecai premiere in Tokyo, right?
That is correct.
You would agree that there are no bruises or visible marks on your back in this picture?
No, not that I could see.
I'll show you one other photo. If we could please have Plaintiff's Exhibit 1257. I'll show you one more picture. Plaintiff's Exhibit 1258. And that's the backless dress, right, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
You also told this jury about an incident in Australia in March of 2015.
Yes, that's correct.
You testified that after this alleged incident, you had cuts on your forearms, right?
Yes, that's true.
And you testified that you had cuts on the bottoms of your feet as well.
Yes, that's true.
And you testified that you had a bruise across your jaw from when Mr. Depp, quote, clocked you in the face, end quote.
That's true.
You didn't take any pictures of these injuries while you were in Australia, did you?
No, I don't think I took any pictures.
You just took 2 pictures of Mr. Depp's writing on a mirror. Isn't that right?
I believe so, yes.
So you had your phone on you, right?
At some point I did have my phone.
And your iPad?
I had my iPad, I believe.
And you testified that you were also with a liquor bottle in Australia, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes.
You testified you bled from your vagina as a result of that.
Yes.
There aren't any medical records reflecting that you sought medical treatment for any of these injuries, are there? So the first payment is scheduled for August 31st, 2016, and that's $200,000, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Mr. Depp's accountant, Edward White, testified that he made that payment directly.
You got to turn on your microphone, Ms. Berderhoff. I'm not going to hear you.
Objection to her testifying to what Mr. White testified to. That.
Okay.
It's he literally testified to it in court.
I'll overrule objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Depp's accountant, Edward White, testified that he made the payment directly to the ACLU and CHLA, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And then the rest of the payments were all made to you, weren't they?
That is correct.
And the final payment of $2.3 million is on February 1st, 2018, right?
The final payment, yes.
And you were here in court when Mr. White testified that the payments were all made on schedule.
I'm going to object to her testifying to what Mr. White testified to.
I'll
It's an
overrule
improper-
the objection. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. And you were here in court when Mr. White testified that the payments were all made on schedule, right?
I don't believe they were. He might have
That's
testified
not my
to that.
question, Ms. Heard. My question was, you were here in court when Mr. White testified under oath that all the payments were made on schedule.
I was here every day in court. I heard his testimony, yes.
Okay. So back to October of 2018, this was before Mr. Depp sued you for defamation, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
He didn't sue you until after the op-ed came out in December of 2018, right?
He sued me in 2019.
And the op-ed came out in December of 2018.
That is correct.
So in October of 2018, you had received your entire $7 million divorce settlement. You would agree with me?
That is correct.
Okay. And you hadn't yet been sued by Mr. Depp.
This is October, correct.
So in this October 2018 interview, you said that you had, quote, donated, end quote, your entire divorce settlement to charity, right?
That's correct.
And in fact, your exact words were, quote, $7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, end quote. Right?
That's correct. I made that statement as soon as I got a divorce and we reached the settlement. That's when I pledged it, right then.
And you say this because you, quote, wanted nothing, end quote.
That is correct.
But you hadn't donated your entire $7 million settlement to charity at that point, had you?
That's incorrect.
Sitting here today, Ms. Heard, you still haven't donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity.
I just cannot believe we're still talking about this, but hey, they want to keep putting out information. I'm going to keep talking about it. It just cracks me up. You guys, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this, and I can't wait to continue to talk about this shit show with you guys. You really are the best. Thanks for all the wonderful comments. If you want to see more of my material, my videos, check out my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. Thanks so much for being so sweet and supportive. I appreciate it, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Take care. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.